Welcome back, everyone, with hopefully a buffer-free stream. I'm Rain Chocolate, and I'm joined by Moderator, and we are going to be commenting about Loshania Shalupin against Circle of Two. I will introduce the Loshania team, who brought a Vindicator, an Eos, Oneros, Devoter, Navy Osprey, Double Confessor, Double Caracal, and a Kestrel.
Speaking of buffer, Circle of Two is going to want to have a lot of that on their Mercurials, and their flagship Armageddon they've chosen to bring against Loshania Shalupin. For the rest of the comp, they like to bring things in pairs, so 2 Spiples, 2 Vengeances, 2 Crowers, and an Oneros Text 2 Logistics.
So
I think that the LSH has got a bit of a weird comp with a pair of Caracals and a Navy Osprey in an armor comp with a Kestrel. What's your take on that, Rain?
So I think obviously the Kestrel is just going to be there to provide support, but I think the Caracals should be pretty effective on taking out those Vengeances and Crewers. Most people put RLMLs on them and they just have them launch away, and just as the match is starting, they're immediately primarying these Crewers, which should be able to take them out very quickly, with the Crewers unable to really do much before the Oneros can rep them.
Yeah, this Crewer's making the smart play. He's immediately burning away outside of the range of the Caracals. He's realizing that he's the primary, but he needs to hurry up and pull range faster, or he might pop here. We can see that the Kestrel has already been caught without any sort of logistics to support him. The Vengeances will probably primary him and kill him. The Caracal's also taking quite a bit of damage so far. He's been painted, likely a primary for the autocannon Macharials next.
Yeah, so I'm really curious, because this Caracal, he's either has a really good shield buffer, or he's not being shot at much at all, because he's not taking too much damage. He's just kind of like slowly being plicked away at, even though he is target painted. And this Kestrel, wow, this Kestrel actually was in deep armor, and the Oneros actually pulled him back. Same with this Crewer.
Yeah, so really well played. He decided to burn for freedom as soon as he saw that he was getting damaged. You want to burn out of 60 kilometers that the Caracals have for range on their light missiles, so well played by him. So far, I'm a bit confused. These Kestrels should be dying much quicker than they are. Now that this Caracal has been heavy grappled by the Macharials, he's going to die rather quickly, but a bit of a strange setup to have an armor Kestrel actually surviving.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Loshania actually is watching Sutonia's Kestrel guides, because he's doing pretty well for either keeping himself alive and just mitigating this damage, as well as receiving those Oneros reps. The first Crewer down for Circle of Two. The first Crewer has died for Circle of Two, although it took a Caracal with it from Loshania.
Yeah, now the Crewer in low armor. We'll see if the Oneros of Gigax, who is jammed, can actually sustain reps on him. Looks like they are so far. Miracle of the Trail popping, and now the Oneros has been hard tackled for Loshania Shalupin. Circle of Two putting all their damage onto it. Very good primary choice. Shooting him to shut off the hardeners, painting him to apply damage better, and then pinning down the Confessor so they can't actually support anything else on the LSH team.
Yeah, so even though, well, I was gonna say, even though Loshania has a bunch of good DPS ships, or at least good DPS ships, at least still remaining, their control bar is actually extremely small compared to Circle of Two. Circle of Two fills up the whole bar, and whereas Loshania is barely like a fraction of that, and it's not even all the way full. So Circle of Two is really utilizing what control they have, and so they're winning the control war, even though they may have lost like 1 or 2 ships already.
Yeah, we can see that the Oneros is going to be absolutely getting completely nuded out dry by what would presumably be the officer or heavy dead space reps of that Armageddon. Armageddon having a bonus to the optimal of newts can actually newt pretty much anything out on LSH, having nearly a 60-kilometer optimal with those newts. And now we see the Oneros pop. Without that, they're not going to have any reps, and these Confessors should die in rather short order, with no logistics or armor bots apparently to support them.
Yeah, so focusing the Logi is generally a pretty good move, especially if it was keeping that Kestrel alive pretty well, as well as the Caracal. But without that, they're not going to be able to hold on, so they just have to either try and avoid and mitigate DPS in other ways, such as burning away, orbiting, etc., or they have to at least win the DPS race. But I don't think Loshania can come back from this.
No, I don't either. You can see that there's already newts on the Eos that will shut down any sort of active hardeners they have on him, and will shut off his link, so that means that the effective armor buffer of the entire LSH team is going to be that much less, and looks like they're just going to have to grind through all the armor, but so far Circle of Two playing this very well, trading in Oneros for a Crewer, always a very good pick to make.
Yeah, so what do you think about Loshania bringing this Osprey Navy issue and this Devoter? I haven't seen them too much, maybe a Devoter once or twice, but I think this is the first time we've seen an Osprey Navy issue.
It can work possibly in sort of a finesse shield setup, but I don't know why you would ever bring it in any sort of an armor comp. There are simply ships that do the role of the Navy Osprey in an armor comp that much better.
Okay. I mean, makes sense. And, well, Lo Shania may have been a little finicky on their ship picks. They're actually being smart and primarying this Oneros. The Oneros is actually Higgs-scrammed as well as Web, so they're trying to hold it down, and now they have the target painter on it. Hopefully they're going to be able to apply more DPS and that he doesn't have a local rep. He does have, it looks like, bots.
Yeah, the Oneros has a significant amount of heavy armor bots that are sustaining him. It's a bit confusing why he's quite that close to his armor team. He doesn't actually need to be anywhere near that close, so he's in dangerously next to everything that LSH has. But so far, the Vindicator, if he can drop, will be a good trade for the Oneros. Without that, LSH just won't have that much damage left. Good choice for them to switch off of the EOS. EOS wasn't breaking particularly quickly, and the Vindicator just wasn't tanked nearly as well.
Yeah, the Vindicator is down for the Oneros, for a trade for the Oneros. So even though they lost their Logi, I think Circle of Two will be okay. And it was kind of weird because I caught this Caracal having shield bots on him. So even though he's with an armor fleet, it looks like they brought shield bots just to kind of keep this Caracal, and I assume maybe the Kestrel even alive, but I'm not quite sure why they would pick shield bots in an armor fleet.
Well, so far, Circle of Two is making Eve look easy, as they've managed to kill the Kestrel and all the Caracals, or all but one of the Caracals, and this EOS will be not long for this world.
Yeah, so they're just now, once the EOS is gone, obviously that's all of their links, even if he did have any cap to sustain it. So it left is just picking off the Devote and the Osprey. There's no real way for them to come back from this. The Armageddon is pretty good with their control bar. Like, they've lost, it looks like, quite a few of their support, but the Armageddon is, I think, a large chunk of that control bar and applying the webs and the newts, or newts especially.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Circle of Two put their rep drones onto the Vengeances that have now died. With the amount of battleships they have left, they can afford to pull off some of the damage drones and just use those rep drones to actually sustain their support wing. But it doesn't look like it will matter too much, as the Devoter is now being heavily neuted. Can't actually run his hick point, and doesn't look like he'll survive that much longer.
Yeah, although he does, I think he's managed his hit point cycling on this Feeple, who's actually taking a lot of damage. Like, he either has to try and get out of range, or he's he's going to die. He's super low.
LSH is doing a good job of kiting away with that Navy Osprey and Caracal out of damage range, but it doesn't really matter that much. They can't actually kill a Macarial or an Armageddon in time that they would need to in order to actually bring the point loss, especially not with 3 minutes remaining.
Yep, and the Devoter just went down, so I think maybe this Feeple's saved. He's like, I think he either has armor bots on him or he's self-repping. He's somehow surviving. It's all that's left of this Caracal and this Navy Osprey.
Yeah, just now a small swarm of heavy armor bots have gotten on top of him, so the Spiteful is slowly but surely regaining armor and will die to the light missile spam of the Osprey and Caracal, but looks like the Osprey and Caracal are just going to try to keep away from these armor battleships for the next 2 minutes and try to survive.
Yeah, and maybe, I think it looks like they're trying to take out this last Feeple. I mean, I think it's really the only thing they can apply to. Although this Caracal, I'm really disappointed. The Caracal has such a nice range of ship skins, and it actually doesn't have any on it. I'm not sure why people don't bling out their ships for stuff like this.
Well, Rain, I don't think anyone here actually approves of skin shaming, so
I don't know. I think, are you saying Lo Shania, if they didn't, I'm saying, no.
You're saying that Lo Shania had a low-tier skin?
I'm saying, well, they didn't have a skin. I'm saying maybe their chances could have improved if they had a skin. Now, I'm not saying they lost because they didn't have skins, but it's a really odd coincidence that they didn't have a skin and then they lost.
If there's anything I've learned from playing Counter-Strike, it's that skins equal wins, so...
Exactly.
Unfortunately, Lo Shania won't have any more chances to win, as they're going to be knocked out of the loser's bracket.
Yep, exactly. And they weren't even able to finish off this Feeple. I'm guessing maybe they hit their reload cycle, or maybe he was smart and burned out of range. But now it's just killing this Caracal.
Yeah, this Caracal has managed to get himself heavy grappled, but it looks like it's deep in fall off, and now he's being neuted, so his micro warp drive is going to shut off pretty soon. Drones will eventually catch up with him. Everything will eventually catch up with him, and Caracal will not survive to live another day.
Yep, and we have 40 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be, I'm guessing, even though Loshania did not bring their flagship, I'm guessing they're still looting the wrecks. And 40 seconds left, and Circle O2 has finalized their victory. With that, we'll send it back to the boys in the studio. Hey guys, where are we going? I'm starving. Whoa, what are we all looking at? Nice. What are you laughing at? Whoa, what's over here? Oh my gosh.
They must be doing the same things they did last time. They're just charging straight in towards the enemy. They have no fear.
Hey guys, welcome back after that great match between Circle of Two and Losechnia Shalupin. An example of how to be controlled, I think we were saying. Suetonius, tell us a little bit about what happened.
So it seemed like the support side of the Losechnia team just got controlled and killed, really. CO2 just kept all the core ships like webbed down, just killed all the support, and then just systematically went through the team. They did lose quite a bit at the end there, though.
Yeah, they seemed to lose. CO2 did seem to lose their support right near the end of the fight. But I mean, we had a team that was ultimately one Vindy against 3 battleships on the opposing team. You know, it had an EOS for support and a Devota, but really the only damage from the Losechnia team was among their support and then the Vindy. Really, they didn't have enough on heavy asset on field to win the fight, I don't think.
Yeah, so we do have some exciting news from the other arena. That is that Tuskers did in fact beat Rote Capel in their catch-up match from yesterday. Somewhat to be expected, but it is, again, you know, seeing Rote Capel, historically a very strong team, fall down out of the winners bracket. So Tuskers going on as most people did in fact call. We also have some interesting betting information. Remember to submit your bets at eve-bet.com. There have been, I think it's 191 billion ISK bet just on the next match between Pandemic Legion and Spectre Fleet, 185 of which is on Pandemic Legion.
Yeah.
It could happen. That 6 bill of ISK could make a lot of money for those bettors if Spectre Fleet win. Pandemic Legion have been known to possibly lose to themselves in past. So Tony, do you remember any examples of PL screwing themselves over in the Alliance tournament?
Yeah, I can think of a few boundary cases where they.
Oh, that's cruel. That hurts, man.
We tend to. I mean, PL tends to. The only time where I can really think, other than the boundary violations, which was alluded to a few moments ago, is overthinking situations. Sometimes they'll try and over-meta someone, and PL ends up metaing themselves. It could happen, but I don't think it's going to be that likely in this case.
Yeah, the next match is one I'm very excited for. 2 teams that we didn't expect so early in the losers bracket. It is Vidra Reloaded versus Triumvirate, and we'll bring you that after these announcements.
In Eve, the only thing worth more than ISK is trust. In Amsterdam, Eve is real.
Hey guys, guys. Welcome back to Alliance Tournament Day 2 with Suetonia, RocketX, and myself, Apothony. Let's talk a little bit about the match coming up. Vidra Reloaded versus Triumpher. As I said before the break, two teams we didn't expect to see in the losers bracket so early on in the tournament. Vidra beat Polar Bears and then lost to Exodus. Tri lost to Galaxy Spiritus, and then we just watched them beat Spaceship Samurai. In their last match, Vidra Reloaded bought a double Absolution, Ineros, double Curse, Vigilant, double Purifier, double Hound team, so heavy on the bomber lower end there. Triumvirate bought a Vindicator, a Megathron, two Brutix Navies, Augur, Svipple, double Confessor, double Hound team. So, Rocket, who's your favourite in this match? What do you think of the comps each team have brought so far?
I think I'm going to say Vidra Reloaded, to be honest, simply based on the fact that, okay, yeah, they lost to Exodus, but Exodus are a very, very good team. The performance we've seen out of Tri, they lost to a team that's had a week to prepare. That I don't know how much that really says for how well this tournament's gone for them in terms of execution and what they managed to pull off. But I certainly don't think Tri would be a favourite to win this match.
What about you, Suetonia? What have you thought on the paths of Vidra and Tri so far?
I think Vidra just, they seem pretty solid. I don't think they're super top tier, but they lost to Exodus, which is probably the favourite to win the entire tournament, I'd say, outside of Pandemic Legion and Tuskers and a few others. I think Tri are going to have to try really hard to win. Hopefully, as long as they don't bring back Shield, Hull, Hyperions, I think they might have a slightly better chance though.
Or Nagas or something like that.
So, as I mentioned, Vidra did in their last game bring a Vigilant, which I think is a very interesting tournament ship. 90% webs are a big allure, as is the speed of the Vigilant, as is the raw amount of damage the thing can output. Suetonia, to me, however, with all that, I'm personally not that convinced that the Vigilant is an amazing tournament ship. To me, when I see it, it just kind of dies. What are your thoughts on the Vigilant?
Yeah, I feel the same way about Daredevils as well. They just seem to be like really flaky and they just die really quickly. I don't think that the 90% web really brings all that much.
No, certainly not. Maybe when you apply it to a Vindy and, you know, it's got some staying power and a lot of damage there. Obviously, Vigilant does a lot of damage, but it's not going to compete with the battleship level DPS.
Yeah, if you don't have the HP of a battleship, then T2 resist is very important to keep yourself alive under reps. So I think that we are pretty close to the match starting even. So let's hand it over to the commentators in the booth who are going to be Rain and moderator for the match between Vidra Reloaded and their opponents, Triumvirate.